Let me start by clearing up something important. World War I did not begin because Europe suddenly lost control or went mad. It began because the system Europe was using to manage power had been breaking down for years, and most people inside that system didn't fully realize it. So instead of starting with gunshots or assassinations, we need to start with how Europe was organized before the war. At the beginning of the 20th century, Europe was dominated by empires, not the kind of nation-states we're familiar with today. These empires ruled over many different groups of people, different languages, religions, and identities, all under a single government. That arrangement worked when authority was strong and unquestioned. It worked far less well when people began asking who they really belonged to. Some groups wanted more political rights, others wanted independence. Austria-Hungary is the clearest example. On paper, it was a great power. In reality, it was struggling to hold together populations that no longer felt loyal to the empire itself. And from the perspective of imperial leaders, this wasn't just inconvenient, it was dangerous. Now add the international situation. None of the major European powers trusted each other. France had been defeated by Germany and wanted security. Germany feared being surrounded. Russia wanted influence in Eastern Europe. Britain wanted balance. Austria-Hungary feared collapse. To manage this insecurity, European states formed alliances. The idea was simple. If everyone had strong friends, no one would dare start a war. But alliances didn't just promise protection, they created obligation. If your ally mobilized, you were expected to mobilize. If your ally went to war, neutrality became almost impossible. By the early 1900s, European armies had detailed war plans. These weren't general ideas, they were precise schedules built around railways, troop movements, and supply logistics. Mobilization wasn't something you could pause halfway through. Once it started, trains moved, units deployed, and resources were committed. Military leaders believed that waiting too long could mean losing before a war had even begun. So political leaders were constantly under pressure from their own generals to act quickly. At the same time, nationalism was growing, especially in the Balkans. People increasingly identified themselves by language and ethnicity rather than imperial loyalty. Serbia supported movements that challenged Austro-Hungarian authority. Austria-Hungary viewed this not as a local problem, but as a direct threat to imperial control. When Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Sarajevo, Austria-Hungary did not see it as an isolated act of violence. It saw a test. If the empire failed to respond forcefully, it risked appearing weak. Austria-Hungary consulted Germany. Germany offered full support. Demands were issued to Serbia. Some were accepted, others were not. Russia supported Serbia, France supported Russia, Britain hesitated. Each government believed it was acting responsibly. Each believed delay was more dangerous than action. Once mobilization began, events moved faster than diplomacy could keep up with. Russia mobilized, Germany responded, France followed. War declarations came quickly. At that point, the machinery had taken over. In the next part, we'll look at what happened once war began, and why it did not end the way anyone expected.